I have the if statement. So inside that if statement, I have one more if statement. So that is what I will call it as a nested if statement. If the condition is true, so what should happen? So it should come to the test condition 2. If the condition is true, it will execute statement 2. After executing the statement 2, directly it will come to the statement X. A is greater than 0. If this condition is true, I will go inside this block. Hello everyone, I welcome all of you to the yet another important session on decision making and branching. So this is the second session. So please don't forget to watch the previous session, that is session number 1. So I have discussed simple if and also I have discussed if else statement with the practical explanation. Alright, so my dear students, suppose if you have not yet subscribed to the channel, please don't click to the bell icon that you have below. And also, please don't forget to click on the like button if you have liked the content. So that is an inspiration for me. By saying this, let me welcome all of you to the second session. So what is that I have in today's class? So I will be discussing about the nested if and also I will be discussing about the ladder if. Alright, so this is the major concept which I am going to discuss. At the end of my session, I will show you practically with the NetBeans idea how do we execute this program and how exactly it is working. So this is going to be very important. So please don't skip the video or please don't stop watching in the middle. So watch completely is what I would like to tell you at this point of time. So let me start with the first concept that I have, nested if statement. The name itself says that nested if. Nested in the sense one inside the other one. So what is that I have one inside the other one? So I have if statement. I have the if statement. So inside that if statement, I have one more if statement. So that is what I will call it as a nested if statement. Sir, how do we write the syntax for this? Let me make it very simple to all of you. Listen to me carefully. So you all know that how exactly we are using the simple if statement. So we have if statement, right? So we have if statement. How do we use if statement? We have the testing condition. So we have the true block. So here I have the next statement. Yes or no? Yes. All of you know that. If this condition is true, it is executing this block. After executing this block, so it will execute the next statement. Suppose if this condition is not true, it will skip this and it will execute the statements. This is what we have discussed in the simple if. But when it comes to if else, what do we do in the if else? So we also have the else block. We also have the else block. What exactly else block is all about? Else block in the sense false block, which we have already discussed. Suppose if this condition is not true, this condition is not true. If this condition is not true, this block will be executed. That's what you need to remember. So this is what we call it as a true block. This is what we call it as a false block. So this is common in if else. Suppose if this true block is executed, so this part will be skipped and then next statement will be executed. Suppose if this true block is skipped, say for example my condition is false, so this will be skipped, only this part will be executed, that is false block is executed, and this after that, so next statements will be executed. So this is what we have understood in the previous session. Now I'm trying to say you that nested if statement inside the if statement. So where is my if statement here? So this is what I will call it as a if statement. So if statement inside the if statement. How do I write? So please remember. So this is how I write. So if statement in the sense if and else, right? So I will be writing if the same syntax inside this block. The same syntax if block and else block inside this block. So that is what I will call it as a nested if. That is what I will call it as a nested if. See, observe here. I have the testing condition. So what is that I have? I have the testing condition. So fine. If this condition is true, again I have the true block. So this much, whatever I have, please observe. This much I will call it as a true block. This much I will call it as a true block. This is what I will call it as a true block. So inside this what I have, please observe. I have the if statement. All right. I have the if statement. Along with that, I have the else statement too. I have the else statement too. So in if statement inside the if is what I will call it as a nested if. If statement inside the if statement is what I will call it as a nested if. One thing you need to observe here. For this if, I have the else part here. All right. Suppose if I have if here, again I will have the else part here itself. So that's what I have here. So for this if, this is the else part. For this if, this is the else part. This is what you need to remember. All right. So let's understand how exactly this is working with the flow chart. Let's understand the flow of execution now. So I have the test condition 1. So test condition 1 in the sense what? So this is what I will call it as the test condition 1. Suppose in this test condition 1, if the condition is true, so what should happen? So it should come to the test condition 2. So where is my test condition 2 here? So if this test condition 1 is true, it will come to the test condition 2. This is what they are speaking in the flow chart. So fine, we understood this. So if this condition is true again, so it will execute the statement 1. Which is the statement 1 here? So if this condition is true, this is the statement 1. This is what you need to remember. So this statement will be executed. So fine, I have executed this. I have executed this. After that what? So after that, I will be executing the statement X. I will be executing the statement X. So you need to observe. So all these statements I have skipped. I have not executed. So this is what you need to observe. So fine. So we understood this path. So let's try. Here I have understood true block. So I need to understand else block also. Suppose if the condition is false, so it will execute this statement. How exactly we have represented here? If this condition, I'm speaking about this condition, right? Yes. So test condition 2. If this condition is false, so this statement will be executed. So please observe here. Statement 2 will be executed. So it will not execute statement 1. It will execute statement 2. After that, it will execute statement X. After that, it will execute statement X. So please observe. After executing this statement, directly it will execute this. So this statement and this statement, it is skipping. That's what you need to understand. All right. So fine. We understood this also. So let's go back. We understood the true block. Let's understand the false block now. So I have the condition. If the condition fails in the main if, so it will execute the false block directly. It will come to the statement 3. After executing the statement 3, it will come to the statement X. So please understand here. If this condition is false, directly it will execute the statement 3. It will skip this part. It will not execute this part. Directly it will execute this statement, and then after that, statement X will be executed. This is how the nested if is working. So I will explain this with the practical, real time programs. I will show you, and I will demonstrate how exactly it is working. So I will change the values and I will show you live demo, so you will understand in a better way. Okay, so watch the video till the end. I will explain this program in the NetBeans IDE so that you will understand this very clearly. Moving on to the next type of if statement that I have. So that is ladder if. How do I use this ladder if? So you understood simple, you understood if else, you also understood nested if. But why should I use ladder if? You will have a question. When should I use nested and when should I use ladder? So here I have multiple true block and one false block. But in the nested if, it is not like that. In the nested if, I have true block inside the true block. The conditions are nested. To execute one true statement, I have to satisfy multiple conditions. But when it comes to the ladder if, it is not like that. Multiple true blocks are there. So what exactly it is? Let's understand that. Say for example, I have the first condition. So if this condition is true, the statement 1 will be executed. So I don't have that condition is not true. Okay, I will check for one more condition. How? Else if. This is a new word that I am introducing to all of you. Suppose if you have not studied ladder if. So else if. So else if I am testing for the second condition. Suppose I'm checking for this condition. Suppose if this condition is true, I will be executing only statement 2. Suppose if this condition is true, I will execute statement 3. So suppose if this condition is true, I will execute statement n. I will execute statement n. So if all these conditions is not true, so I will execute the else part. I will execute the else part. What did you understood here? I have multiple conditions. I have multiple conditions. Multiple conditions in the sense multiple if statements, multiple true blocks. But you need to remember only one true block will be executed. Only one true block will be executed is what you need to understand. One true block can be executed is what you need to remember. I cannot execute all the true blocks. I cannot execute all the true blocks. Why do I have this? To test multiple conditions. So that is what the advantage that I have with the ladder if. So let's understand this with the flow chart. So please understand. So I have the condition 1. Suppose if this condition is true, I will execute this statement 1 and directly I will come to the statement X. I will not execute these statements at all. So that's what you need to remember here. If this condition is true, please remember, if this condition is true, once I'm done with the execution of this statement, directly I'll come to the statement X. I will skip everything. That's what you need to remember. In the same way, I will move to the next condition when, if this condition is fails. When, please make a note of it. If the first condition fails, I will check for the second condition. So in this also, if the condition is true, it will execute statement 2. After executing the statement 2, directly it will come to the statement X. So please observe here. So if this condition fails, it will come to the second condition. It will come to the second condition. If this condition is true, it will execute this statement and directly it will execute the statement X. It will not execute any of the statement. So when it will check, when this condition will be checked, so only when this condition fails. That's what you need to remember. In the same way, so I have the third condition. When I will go to the third condition, suppose if this condition fails. If this condition fails, it will go to the next condition. Again, so same thing will happen. So how many conditions I can have, sir? N number of conditions you can have. N number of conditions you can have. So, but you need to remember one thing. You need to remember one thing. Suppose I will come to this last if-else statement. I will come to the last if-else statement. What happens? So condition, if the condition is true, I will execute this statement. So please observe here. If this condition is true, I will execute this statement. Then after that statement X. Suppose if this condition is not true, if it is false, then I will execute the else block. Then I will execute the else block. That's what I have written here. If this condition is true, it will execute the statement N. Suppose if this condition is not true, I will execute the default statement, that is else block. After that, I will come to the statement X. This is how the ladder if is working. So let me show you the demo how exactly this is working. So welcome back. So I have the NetBeans ready for me. So let me demonstrate how exactly nested if is working for you guys. So how exactly nested if is working for you, let me explain the program for all of you. So after that, I will execute and I will show you. So you will be able to understand how exactly it is working. So fine. So you all know that I have the class. Let me not explain that. So the class name is FirstPro again here. So I have the main function. So from this main function, the execution of the program starts. So fine. After that, what is that I have? You all know that nested if in the sense if statement inside the if statement. So how do I have that in my program? Let's check that. So I have the if condition. What is that I have given? So I have taken a variable that is a is equal to -1. So that is what the value that I have initialized. So fine. If a is greater than 0. If a is greater than 0, that's what you need to remember. A is greater than 0. If this condition is true, I will go inside this block. I will go inside this block. Let me mark it for you so that you will be able to identify it very clearly. All right. So for this if, okay, so please observe, I'm going inside. So this if is still here. So till where I have? So till here. So please observe. So this is what I will call it as a true block. This is what I will call it as a true block. Please understand this. So this block will be executed only if this condition is true. So fine, let's imagine this condition is true. All right. So once it goes inside, so what it should print first statement, it should print positive number. Okay, it should print positive number. Then after that, again, it is checking one more condition. If a is greater than 5, it should print greater than 5. Suppose if this condition fails, okay, so it should print less than 5. Less than 5. So this should happen when this condition is true. So fine. So what else should happen? So I have else block also. In the else block, I will print it is negative number. Why? Because here only I'm checking. Here only I'm checking. Okay. If this condition fails, obviously it should be a negative number. That's why I'm printing this. So this is if and else. Outside this, the next statement X is what we call, right? So this is what the statement X. This is outside the if block is what I have given. So I could have given statement X. Let me change it. So I have given this is outside the block. So that's what you need to remember. Let me execute this and show you how exactly the program is behaving. So to understand the nested if statement, so let me run this shift X to shift F6 to run this program. So fine. So my output, hope all of you are able to see this. So this is my output part in the window. So you will be able to see it is negative. Why it is negative? Because A is equal to -1. So here my condition fails. So it is skipping all the statements. It is skipping all these things. Directly it is executing the else part. Why? Because this is not true, right? So if block has been eliminated, that's what you need to remember. Let me mark and show you. So this complete block, what I have, so this block is skipped. This block is skipped. Only this part is executed. After executing this, so this statement is also being executed. That's what you need to observe here. This is outside the if block. So these two statements you are able to see. All right. So let me show you how exactly it is working inside the program. So let me change the A value. Let me change it to, okay, 1. Okay. So how exactly it is behaving now? Let me save it and then shift F6. So please observe this. So first I have given A is equal to 1. So A is greater than 0. A is greater than 0. So fine. So this condition is true now. So it is going inside. Positive number is what it is printing. So fine. Again, it is checking the second condition. So A is greater than 5. So what is the A value that I have? I have A is equal to 1. So is it greater than 5? No. So what it should execute? So it should execute this. It is less than 5. It is less than 5. Let me just run it and show you. So it is less than 5. This statement is what it is printing. Then after that, this else part is being skipped. Why? Because it is already executing the true block. So why will it execute the else block? So fine. After that, this statement has been executed, the last statement. So this is outside the if block. So fine. So we have tried for this. Let's try for this. So I will show you how exactly it is working. Okay, let me show you greater than 5, right? Let me give 6. So fine, Control S and Shift X6. So hope you are able to see this. Positive number greater than 5, and then you have this is outside the if block. So this is how the nested if is working for all of us. Let's understand how exactly ladder if is working. All right. So I have the ladder if for all of you. So please observe what I have here. So I've typed the program for all of you now. So observe, this is the class that I have. This is the name of the class. All right. So one thing you need to understand when it comes to Java, it's case sensitive. All right. So the programming language is case sensitive. So please be careful about it. So the keywords, whenever you are defining, you cannot use the capital no words because it is case sensitive. So how exactly it is defined? So you have to use it as it is. So fine, I have the class name, if statement demo or if else statement is what I've given the class name, and I have the main function, you all know about it, and I've taken A is equal to 4. So first you need to understand. So I have the if statement here, A is greater than 10. What is that I have? A is greater than 10. If this condition is true, it should execute this statement. Suppose if this condition fails, it will check the next condition, that is this. If A is less than 5, so it will print A is less than 5. So even if this condition fails, so it will execute the else part, that is invalid. So let's understand how exactly it is printing. So what should be the output? So it should print less than 5. So that should be the output. Let's check that. So yes, I'm getting less than 5. So let me change the A value now. So let me change 11. All right. So Control S and Shift F6 to run the program. So what is the output? So greater than 10 is the output. So it is working. So this statement is working. So this statement is being printed there. So these two statements are skipped. That's what you need to observe here. Okay. These two statements are skipped. So this is what we call as a branching. All right. So these two statements are skipped. Now I need to come for this. All right. So what is the condition that I have to satisfy? No, less than 5 in the sense minus value. All right. So I cannot enter any value which is less than 5. And also greater than 10 also I cannot enter. I have to enter the value which is between 5 and 10. So let's check that. Let me change the value for 6. All right. So fine. Control S and shift F6. So fine, it says invalid. So this statement has been executed. It's been skipped. That's what you need to remember. So fine, guys. So hope you understood. So by this, I have come to an end of the different types of if statements. So meet you in the next session. I will be discussing a lot of interesting stuffs with respect to switch statements and the conditional operator. So till then, please take care and bye-bye.